cosplay Barrel. For
Hey, that's
Halloween
great.
one
Can you
year.
shut up? We're recording now.
Oh, wow.
Andromeda just left.
Andromeda!
I was like, I don't want to hear it.
I'm sorry.
We're literally about to start and Andromeda just leaves.
Andromeda has to piss.
Andromeda's like, I can't do this show anymore. This is ridiculous.
Actually,
I'm out of here.
We needed to start recording our pre-show.
Well, that was our cold open.
but I already
Andromeda just leaves.
I already donated my barrel mask though, so I'm like, damn, I don't have that anymore. So I went as Lock, Stock, and Barrel, a group of friends.
This is episode 14 of I Finally Saw, where today I finally saw Henry Selick's The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm gonna be petty like that.
Yeah, as you should.
Petty.
Tim Burton didn't do shit. I got beef with that man.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome and happy holidays, as we are definitely recording this in December. And today I am joined by, of course, Andromeda,
Hey, y'all.
by Ember,
I'm still alive.
and by Elle.
I just got done with the movie.
We're very prepared on this show.
Pulling a me, I see.
I guess we're kind of putting a stake on what holiday we think this movie is most relevant towards. At least I am, anyways. By when I scheduled where we're going to release this, but we'll get into that whole debate later on. But yeah, we're talking about Nightmare Before Christmas because I had never seen it, and it was just one of those things where I was like in Hot Topic a lot, and I was like, I should probably watch this movie one day. So yeah. But with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and get into it and introduce this, as we always do, with a little snippet that I have copied from Wikipedia, because I am too lazy to write something myself. Henry Selick's The Nightmare Before Christmas is a 1993 American stop-motion animated gothic musical fantasy film directed by Henry Selick in his feature directorial debut, produced and based on a poem of the same name written by Tim Burton. It tells the story of Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween Town, who stumbles upon Christmas Town and schemes to take over the holiday.
Every day is Halloween, and every night, Jack Skellington
I am the Pumpkin King!
dreams of something different.
What is this?
Andromeda, did you have a history lesson? Or should we just...
We do.
Okay.
I think most people know Tim Burton as a director that does a lot of dark, fantastical goth films.
A director.
Right? He went to Cal Arts. Yes, director of all time. He went to Cal Arts, got an apprenticeship at Disney, and that's where he met Henry Selick. But it really started, allegedly, when Burton was in a store. He saw all the Halloween decorations being taken down, so they would set up for Christmas. And it inspired him to write a poem called The Nightmare Before Christmas. And during that same year, he made a stop-motion animated short called Vincent. And then he was greenlit to start production for a short film / holiday special, which was supposed to be Nightmare Before Christmas, but then Disney pulled the plug on it because it was too edgy and weird for their company image. So later on, Burton was fired from Disney, but they had the rights, so him and Selick kind of continue to work on the project, and Selick says, and I quote, "It's as though Tim Burton laid the egg and I sat on it and hatched it. He wasn't involved in a hands-on way, but his hand is in it. It was my job to make it look like a Tim Burton film, which is not so different from my own films." And when he was asked about Burton's involvement, he claimed, "I don't want to take anything away from Tim, but he was not in San Francisco when we made it. He came up 5 times over 2 years and spent no more than 8 or 10 days in total." And I think it's really funny because when we're watching Tim Burton projects like this one, it says it's from the devious mind of Tim Burton, when really all he did was produce the film. And it's even funnier because the full title of the movie is Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. And they were just writing the success of Beetlejuice and then the Batman, which is the reason why he wasn't able to do Nightmare to begin with. and Touchstone just added his name a couple weeks before the release, so it would be a more successful project.
Yeah. So they were supposed to release this movie under the Disney umbrella, but they ended up releasing it under... Disney was like, I think in test audiences, they felt like it freaked out kids too much. So they released it under Touchstone, which at the time was their label that, I guess just did like edgier stuff. They did Splash with Tom Hanks. And
Super edgy.
Tim Hanks. Yeah, I get him
We
mixed
gotta
up with
talk
this
about
Toy
Splash,
Story.
man.
I'll talk about Flash. I will say, as outsiders, I would be interested in talking about Tim's directorial debut with Pee-wee, but that's a different story.
One of the few Tim Burton movies that I actually do enjoy.
But they released it under Touchstone, and so they were like, according to Tim Burton, the story goes that they, I guess, still wanted to have some level of marketing power, and so they just put his name on it because of the wild success of his work with Batman and Beetlejuice, and by extension Pee-wee. Although Selick alleges that it was Tim's idea, but also, according to him, he thinks it was a good idea because it had marketing prowess with that name. So clearly it worked. It's kind of funny that all of this happened. Touchstone doesn't exist anymore, to my understanding, and so it is sort of funny when I rewatch the movie, or when I watched the movie for the first time in preparation of this, and it's like the big, bright, brand new like Disney logo that they introduced in the 2010s. It's like now that they've made $1 billion off of the marketing, and they're like, yeah, of course this is a Disney movie. So now they're happy to claim this.
My pirated film.
Well,
But I feel like Tim Burton's name would have been slapped on it anyways, like from a cultural aspect, because Coraline, Tim Burton's name gets slapped on the Coraline, and he had literally nothing to do with it.
right.
It's just because of the vibes. Just all of those like gothic movies, they just get his name slapped on it, even though he had nothing to do with it. Like, I heard
It's
someone say,
honestly-
like, wasn't The Crow Tim Burton? I'm like, are you an idiot?
No, Tim Burton is very much just a case of like failing upwards and right time, right place mixed together.
Oh, geez.
100%, yes.
I feel like a lot of people take any kind of stop motion animation and are like, well, Tim Burton did it.
Tim
But that's
Burton
not
did,
really the case at all.
The dark gothic vibes of Wallace and Gromit. Well, he did. He did 3.
Technically 2 with Vincent.
He did 3.
He did technically 2 with Vincent, then he
Right.
did Corpse Bride. Oh, he did Frankenweenie.
Which was a
I always
remake
forget about
of
that
his.
one, 'cause
Which
it's
was a remake.
So, yeah.
Frankenweenie.
I always forget about that one because it's very forgettable.
Yeah, Frankenweenie is a remake of a live-action movie that he'd made for TV, that I think was also under like the Disney umbrella. So it's one of the few. It's just as a little tangent, but it's one of the few times I can think of a director remaking their own movie, and on top of that, the remake is animated, not live action. It's very strange.
How
But
it
yeah.
should be.
But yeah, I guess at this point we'll just transition into our overall sort of familiarity with this movie, and let's start with Ember.
So this was a movie that I watched a fair bit growing up, actually, just because I liked the vibes. One of the few musicals I enjoy. But I kind of stopped watching it for almost, probably more than like a decade at this point. So visiting it again was fun. Some nostalgic vibes, but yeah, pretty familiar.
Andromeda, what about you?
I think I'm very similar to Ember, that I kind of grew up watching it. I'm pretty sure I watched Coraline first, but this was in the time when Blockbuster was still around, and I remember looking at the cover for Coraline, really wanting to watch it. And then after that, it was probably a re-release on Disney Channel, and I just knew it was like same name, and I was like, okay, like this guy can make heat. Unfortunately, it's not Tim Burton, it's actually Henry Selick, but it's one of those movies I come back to. Maybe not every year, but I've watched it often enough that I have become very familiar with this movie. And even then, I actually had my partner's uncle give me a DVD because I didn't have it, so he has the collector's edition for it. But
Well, what about you?
So I did not grow up watching this movie. It was not in our like collection of DVDs that we had. We had Monster House, which I watched every year, and we had Coraline in 3D on the DVD. We had the little 3D glasses. And then whenever, it was always on ABC Family, I know that. And every time it was on, we were just like, nah, I'm not in the mood. And we would go to watch something else. So I just like never grew up with it, but I was just very familiar with it because I grew up in a rich neighborhood, teehee, and so like everyone had like the blow up decorations of it.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
like I just always saw those, and I'd be like, "What's this movie?" Because I didn't watch it. And it wasn't until this friend that I had, anyway, she's dead to me, but she was obsessed with this movie. She was obsessed with it, and like one Halloween, she was like, we should all go as Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And so I was like, sure, fine. I've never seen the movie though. And she was like, oh my god. So we all watched it together, and I had to sit there being like, yeah. And she got so mad at me because I thought it was just okay. And then we ended up dressing it up, and that was, yeah. We ended up going to like a church, a youth group party that was themed around it. Look, my town we're not gonna talk about it, and it was a horrible night. And then I went home, and that's been my only like experience or memory with it. So, but I love the music from it. I'm a huge Danny Elfman fan, huge into Oingo Boingo, all that fun stuff.
yeah.
So like I listened to the soundtrack of it a lot, and so my hype and expectation for the movie was so up there because I'm like, this movie, this song, these are fire songs. And then I watched it and I was like, cool, it's just the songs. I was like, because there's a lot of songs in it and there's not a lot of story in between the songs, so there's really not much other than the music. I still think the music's baller. I was I watched it while I was doing my makeup for this, so I was like, this is. And I listen to the soundtrack every year for Halloween to get into the spooky mood.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's my experience with this movie.
Yeah.
Not a very good one, but
Yeah.
my rewatch was fine. I still think it's a okay movie.
I think so. For me, this was like in a very specific category when I was like a kid of just what I don't know how to explain this, and I don't think that this is even an appropriate term for it, but this was like this fell into a category that as a kid I would have called older sibling media. And I don't know if anyone's going to know what I'm talking about, but it was like this Invader Zim, you know, like there was just something about that aesthetic where I was like, if you had like a Jack Skellington t-shirt, you probably also had a Gurr hoodie, and you were probably like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you were probably also into like Domos
You
or
probably
something.
really like Has Been Hotel now.
Oh boy. So
It's very hot topic.
so yeah, I mean, I was always aware of it. I didn't watch it, and then I think as a kid I was very easily frightened, so I don't think I would have enjoyed it. And then there was like a very specific transition period, I think, for me. And then I remember it was around the time, like even as I got older and I started to get into like high school or something, people were still like, I was still pretty easily frightened. And then it was around that time, I want to say like Coraline came out or something. I'm trying to remember the year. I get fuzzy about the years, but the point is Coraline came out and somebody at school was like, oh, I don't think you would like it. It would freak you out. And so I took that as a challenge. I went to go see Coraline. It did freak me out, but that was when I first sort of fell in love with just the strange and unusual, to be pompous about it. And so it was like as a result, this was like always one of those things where it's like, I should probably watch this movie. And I think I just put it off for a very long time because I just wasn't getting this podcast off the ground. There's a lot of movies I put off on seeing because like, I'll do it when I do the podcast. And then I put the podcast off for a long time. But now we're doing this. So it's great. Yeah.
No more
we
excuses.
Yeah. You brought up Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman is, I think, up there for me in terms of what he's done musically, with the likes of John Williams. Obviously, he did The Batman 89 soundtrack, and I mean, like, that's up there with, like, John Williams' Superman score. It's like, we're still using that. That's still Batman. You know,
He did Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
he did Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He did the Simpsons theme song. He did this one Oingo Boingo song that was really popular in the early 2000s for all the wrong reasons, and whose name I refuse to say over the airwaves.
He
But
did
it was,
all the Oingo Boingos.
yeah.
He
So-
is Oingo Boingo.
He is Oingo Boingo. So Elfman is up there. He, of course, does the singing voice for Jack Skellington, and I think he does a really good job. He does this really great. I don't even know how you explain it, but it's like it's this wonderful in between of like just melodramatic. It's almost spoken word at times, and it's like not the immediate voice you would think of when you think King of Halloween, but it works musically, and I really
Very theatrical.
yeah. I guess at this point we can go ahead and start transitioning into overall thoughts. I think for me, this is a movie that I don't know how to explain it. It was exactly what I expected. Not necessarily in a good or bad way, but just I was like, I think Tim Burton either works for you or he doesn't. Outside of who he is as a person, but like I think his art style can sometimes border on self-indulgent in a way. And
It insists upon itself.
it's like I think there are some times when it really works. Like I think some of his work on, I don't agree with all of his character choices, but I think him and his team undeniably left an impact on Batman. You know, I think like I have kind of a soft spot for Beetlejuice, even though I got into that with the musical. And I think this is a movie where specifically, even though he wasn't really on set, I know he had a hand in developing the art style. And this is a movie where I think his art style works. I think some of his later work, like I think namely his live action stuff with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Alice in Wonderland movies, where it's just like a nightmare, not in a good way, where it's just like kind of like I feel like sick when I watch those movies. I watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and I feel like I need to use the restroom. I don't know how to explain it. But I think from an aesthetic standpoint,
hello.
I think from an aesthetic standpoint, which is ironic because this is like probably the most iconic Tim Burton movie that he had almost little to no on-set involvement with. I think it's, for me, of what I've like really absorbed of his work, the point where his art style is at its strongest. I think the visuals identity is really fun. I think it's partly because it's animated that it just feels so much more inviting and doesn't run the risk of coming off to some people as obnoxious. I know some people find some of his stuff kind of obnoxious. Some people love it, of course, but I think because it feels very storybook, it just feels so much more appropriate than in other environments. But yeah, I guess that's sort of to introduce it. I don't know, Andromeda, how do you feel overall about this movie?
I really like the style of it. Apart from what we have mentioned before, I also really like the Dr. Seuss-esque German expressionism thing with it. I think it does a really good job deriving from movies like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is a quintessential work in German expressionist cinema. But it also derives from Edward Gorey's art and things like that, which I really love. I mean, this is like, it's funny because this, to me, is my least favorite Selick work. But
Really?
I still really enjoy the movie, and I think, yeah. What it is, though, is honestly just the sheer amount of work it takes to make a short film. Or not a short film, but like to make a stop motion feature film is what I appreciate more than the movie itself.
Well, I'll throw it over to Elle. I know you touched on it briefly, but how do you sort of feel overall?
I really liked, like, when I first put it on, I love the opening to it. I love the opening to it. I love, like, when we swoop in and we see the trees and then we go into Halloween Town, which I love the world of Halloween Town. I don't know if you can hear that. Pocket!
Cat pocket cameo.
She really likes scratching my couch. I have protectors, it's fine. But, and so I really liked just Halloween Town. I wish the whole movie was about Halloween Town. I get it. It's Nightmare Before Christmas. It's gonna be about Christmas. But I'm like, that was so strong, and I feel like the Christmas elements were just sort of like how Jack handled it, just thrown in there, just not understanding it. I feel like we didn't need that. Like, Halloween Town was so strong, and just having, like, you know, Jack having laments about Halloween and everyone else trying to cheer him up. Maybe they come up with different things, but, like, I feel like that would have been better than just, you know, what if we did Christmas? Which I understand, that's the plot of the movie, I get it, but, I love the world. The animation is beautiful. I love the mix of 2D elements with the ghosts and everything like that. I love the character design, the character voices. Pocket's probably gonna join us here in a second. But I love the voice acting. Catherine O'Hara did a fantastic job. And then so did Danny Elfman, and everyone else who voiced in it did great. All the elements were there. Of course, the music's great. Again, all the elements are there. Just the actual story itself is just very meh. It's not necessarily boring because it keeps you interested with the music, but it's very much it feels like a Rankin Bass. There she is. It feels like a Rankin Bass short, but not a very good one. It feels like the newer Rankin Bass, where it's just very short and to the point, and it doesn't leave you with like that strong of an impression. Like, Tomorrow I'll Forget pretty much 98% of the film. And I feel bad about that because it is very impressive, and I do love Henry Selick's work. I love Coraline. It's one of my favorite, not my favorite Leica film, but definitely in top one. But I love Danny Elfman. I love all of his music and everything. But, like, I don't know. I feel like the script itself wasn't strong enough. Like, it just needed one or two more work-throughs just to make the impact stronger. The impact of the plot is not, it doesn't leave me going like, I need to change this about myself. Like, Jack just sort of comes to the realization on his own, like, man, I guess Christmas didn't work out. Oh well, back to doing Halloween. Like, I guess, man. It's like, you just made one mistake and was like, shucks.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, when Santa says, like, you should, next time you get another midlife crisis, just listen to her. Because she was saying all this stuff just for Jack at the end to be like, I made this realization on my own. Typical white male behavior. Can't believe it. Speaking of him and Sally, I don't think, everyone says relationship goals, they have one song together, and
they have half of a song together.
The most dialogue they have. They have half of the song together.
Ember.
I don't know why everyone says relationship goals with them. They're fine. I mean,
see, I disagree. I think the life lesson of sometimes you need to stay in your lane is very important. No. I don't know. Oh, thank you, hair, for curling into my mouth.
tasty.
I showered. It's coconut flavored.
Ugh. I hate coconut.
Didn't.
Okay.
Austin hates nuts, confirmed.
Okay. Gotcha. Overall, I do also very much appreciate the storybook vibes, and I think that's also a big part of why it feels so, like, jarring to me whenever the military decides to take action and shoot Jack out of the sky later on in the movie.
I thought you were
It's such
the
a
actual
fucking
military.
curveball.
I have expected Adam Driver
for
to show
them
up,
to just like,
and he's like, blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
The sky!
it feels so insane because it's just such like a hard left turn from the whimsical vibes, and then like it immediately ends right after that as well, because then he f***s back off to Halloween Town through the grave or whatever, and it's just like, all right, sure.
Also, how the fuck did he get to the forest?
This is another instance of me getting outsmarted by a
Purgatory.
movie, because as I was watching this, I thought I love pretending to be CinemaSins sometimes when I watch movies, because I just think it's funny to make nonsense criticisms that aren't actually valid. And I was like, actually, if this was happening, why wouldn't this elicit a military response from the police or the local military? And then they started shooting him out of the sky, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna die! They're gonna blow him up out of the sky. I mean, okay, I don't know. Pocket.
Missy.
I think
It's all tangled up. Oh god.
I don't know. While Pocket is attacking
I
Elle,
know.
I just also briefly want to mention I adore the fact that Jack was wearing his normal suit underneath the Santa suit, because that sounds deeply uncomfortable, and I personally appreciate that. Also, the shot of Jack like getting
He doesn't
flipped
have
on the
skin.
table. Well, shut up. The shot when Oogie Boogie like flips the like cranking table back over and
That
Jack
got
is just
all
there and
the
like a
Tumblr
fuck like
girlies.
that
All
shot
the
lives in my
Tumblr
head rent
girlies
free because it's so
soaking.
hilarious to me. Jack
always
was
got
ready to fuck Oogie Boogie.
listen.
See,
Hear me
I've
out.
only seen-
Hear me out.
hear me out.
That's what you do to your toxic ex.
They are toxic.
Which
exes.
one?
Wait a minute.
I feel like Oogie Boogie would. Also, what is the government like in Halloween Town? There's a mayor and a king. What are
So
we
the
doing?
mayor is
Is that
apparently an
Parliament?
elected official, but he himself says that he can't make any decisions on his own.
Maybe it's like Robin
And I don't
Hood,
know if
right?
that's just because he himself is incompetent, or if he's just like a figurehead.
Did they elect him and then
He said he was elected.
Yeah.
he is an elected official?
Yeah.
So did Jack just be like, I don't want to have that full responsibility?
I don't know.
Well,
I think Jack just needs a hobby.
you know what? That's a good point. This is a movie I feel very strange about, because I think Elle makes a really good point where like feels like everything was there, right? Like you have really good performances, you have a really strong art direction, you have really good like this movie was nominated for best visual effects. Like that's how strong what it was doing with animation was. Lost to Jurassic Park, which I mean, but the point is that like you have really catchy, memorable music. Like the fact that I knew a lot of these songs without ever having seen the movie, I think speaks to the testament. There's like a testament to the soundtrack of this movie. Like when the timer with Days Until Christmas comes up, and you get those first few like almost notes on strings of Making Christmas. It's like I actually kind of was like, ooh, like, but. And I think the lesson in this movie is fascinating, especially for a children's story, right? Of just like
Don't
sometimes,
cultural appropriate.
like, well, sometimes, like I think of, oh, yeah, that's true, but like the idea of just like sometimes you can try something and give it your best effort, and you don't have to like subscribe to sunken cost fallacy, but also just because it works out doesn't mean that you're a failure. You know, and sometimes it was kind of a worthwhile experiment. I think, but like when you look at the actual like story, because that's a really interesting moral to present to kids, that like failure isn't scary or bad, and this is such an interesting vehicle for telling that story. But the actual story itself isn't like, it doesn't like. I was most surprised by the fact that this movie was like 70 minutes without credits. Like that's just barely over an hour long when I saw it. And when you watch it, this really does feel, I know that this is maybe going to sound sacrilegious to some. This movie kind of feels like very reminiscent to me of like a lot of Dr. Seuss movies, where you have this, like, this feels like a movie
That's
where
what
there was,
Andromeda said,
yeah, there's like a
or
really
Denver.
poignant,
Whichever one.
Andromeda.
which one of you with the dyed hair, I
That's
don't
not
know.
a credit to take.
And pronouns. You liberals all look the same.
This
I'm not
feels
coming over
like
in October anymore.
okay. There's like this movie
My
feels
mom
like
I'm
this
sorry.
movie feels like a really strong, iconic storybook that probably had like
Yes.
beautiful illustrations that somebody was like, let's make a movie out of this. And essentially that's what the poem was like almost like a storybook. And then they very quickly are like, okay, well, we got to make it a musical because that's always what I've pictured, and also how else do you get this to feature length? And I don't know if the premise is It's very similar to like Lorax, where I'm like, I don't know if the Lorax is conducive to feature length. So you're left with these really strong visuals, this really strong like aesthetic identity, musical identity, character impressions. Like everybody loves and remembers Oogie Boogie and Lock, Shock, and Barrel and Sally and Jack and not Dr. Frankenstein, Dr. Finkelstein or something, whatever his name was.
He's
And,
Jewish, yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Muzzle.
But like, I don't remember any dialogue or like standout lines or moments or scenes in this movie that aren't just purely carried by visual instead of like how much I emotionally care about those characters.
So like I always caught like the tail end of it because we would always watch the end of it just to get to the next movie that's playing on ABC Family. Which was typically like Corpse Bride or some other like spooky movie that they had, or Coraline sometimes. But so the only stick out thing that isn't the music for me is when Santa Claus went, "Of course I can fix it." Okay. "Of course I can fix it. I'm Santa Claus." And then he touches his nose and then shoots out the thing. I'm like, also, this is one of my least favorite depictions of Santa because he is mean, grouchy, and ugly. That's not Santa.
I like the subversive take on Santa. I need more cruel Santas.
I mean, wouldn't
He's
he?
So
I mean, if I got
ugly
kidnapped.
and mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Also, I remember that the kids
he's
threw
mean
down
to
a
death.
scorpion at him. He doesn't know who threw that scorpion down. So yeah, he's probably just kind of going to be a little bit blanket mean to everyone.
I get that, but like as a kid, you're just like, Santa's gonna forgive them all for doing this, and like he's gonna find the way out. He's not the hero in the story, but as a kid, that's what I thought. I also didn't. My other least favorite depiction of Santa is from Elf, but I'll get into that later, I guess. But that one's also a mean Santa.
What's that one Santa where he just? Oh God, is it Santa's Sleigh? Have you guys seen Santa's Sleigh? It's this like schlocky 80s slasher where he's played by like, Ronan's gonna kill me for not knowing what wrestler that is. But there's this wrestler, and it's like in the movie, like Santa Claus is.
Steve Austin?
I don't know, maybe. But in the movie, this is like, I think this movie was like late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's direct to video. And in the movie, like Santa's whole thing about gifting presents is like a curse that was put on him by some sort of authority because of like he was like a really cruel Viking or something. And so they're like, because of how terrible of a barbarian you are, you will be forced to do public service, which is gifting kids gifts for a millennia. So the movie takes place after that millennia is over. And so like the cold open of the movie is this family doing like a Christmas dinner, and Santa Claus just shows up through the chimney and then just kills them all. And then the whole movie is Santa's just this like really brutal, mean slasher villain. And it's like kind of supposed to be funny.
Put some Danny Elfman in that, and we got a better Nightmare Before Christmas.
Hilarious.
Put some Danny Elfman sounds in there, and we got a better one.
Well, so this movie is the subject of a pretty big debate, and I wanna ask everybody's opinion on this debate. And I'll start with Elle. Is this if you had to choose, you think it's a Halloween movie?
If I had to choose,
Halloween
it's a
or Christmas? Okay.
Yeah, there's not enough Christmas in it for it to be a Christmas movie, and the themes in it aren't very Christmas. It's not like spreading goodwill to your fellow man. It's not seeing is not always believing some like made up faith thing. It's not Christmas is about family and being around the ones you love. It's about like, it's none of the Christmas themes, and again, there's not enough Christmas in it. Does it take place on Christmas Day if we're doing the Die Hard argument? Sure. But it's the Halloween to Christmas. They spend like the very tail end of the movie of Christmas actually happening. And so they don't have Christmas dinner. They don't have a proper, there's not enough Christmas in it for it to be Christmas movie. And when do you watch this movie? Oh, what's that? Around Halloween time and not only Christmas time? It's a Halloween movie. It just happens to have a Christmas day in the very last minutes of the movie. So it's a Halloween movie.
Ember, what about you?
ABC Family never played it during Christmas time. They only played it during Halloween time. I don't care what Freeform says. That's not... Oh my goodness, look at her little face.
I personally split the difference in play during Thanksgiving since there's not really any Thanksgiving movies. Look, my Thanksgivings involve Nightmare, Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
That's
We're getting
about
off
it. And
track.
then after that, I typically pass out.
We're getting too off track.
I have a bunch more Thanksgiving movies.
Andromeda, is
It's
this
a
a
lot.
is this a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
I think this is most definitely a Halloween movie. I don't even know how to explain it. I just don't see it as a Christmas movie. I think purely off of vibes. Like, the gothic style is way more reminiscent of something you're gonna watch and see during Halloween already. Like, they have... Henry Selick has other movies, I guess honestly all of them, that all give the same vibe of Halloween and not Christmas, right? Like Wendell and Wild, you'll definitely watch that during
God, I love
Halloween, not Christmas.
So you are wrong, sir.
Here's my thing. I've always
Oh,
had a
no.
very utilitarian approach to these kinds of things, which is just like, how was the movie?
Gonna do the Die Hard argument.
No. It's just, how is it marketed? I don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think it's a Bruce Willis movie. Because my approach is just like, how did you market the movie? What was it intended as? And so, like, I have a very sort of, like, utilitarian approach to that sort of thing. And I will say that, like, that approach doesn't take very kindly to this movie. This movie came out, like, 2 days before Halloween, but it's literally called The Nightmare Before Christmas, although I don't know how you would incorporate Halloween into the title with its premise anyways. Danny Elfman, very famously, is on the Halloween side of the argument. In 2014, director Henry Selick was on that same side, but then when they interviewed him in 2024, I have a quote from a New York Post argument, where he said, or a New York Post article where he says, wait, there's a big fat ad. I can't, okay. 30 years after I directed the film, beneath its candy corn coating, skeletons and vampires, corpse, child, and witches, I know Nightmare is at its heart a Christmas movie. So, that's from the mouth of the director.
We'll make a Christmas movie then.
And, you know, it's okay. Sometimes people are wrong.
Well, when does maybe let's look at this definitively. When does the Disneyland overlay start? When do they start putting the Disneyland overlay in?
Halloween.
Okay, well, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, Halloween.
I guess I was wrong, and we released this episode during
They're
the complete
in for
wrong season.
the not so scary Disney thing. They're in that.
But
I know this because of the terrible friend that I had. He was a huge Disney adult, if you could believe it.
Oh.
A terrible person being a Disney adult, never would have guessed. But she would go
Well,
to
now,
Disney
don't alienate that
constantly.
part of the audience. We
Oh,
all
I
know that
will.
They're
I
obsessive.
will. Look, guys, you're a Disney fan. You're supporting a Nazi.
God damn it.
Mickey Mouse is a Nazi?
Oh my goodness. Hi, yeah.
Canonically.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I gotta throw out all my
Mickey Mouse has done
Mousecatools.
blackface, man. No, but you might need those later.
I'm so sorry. That was really bad.
Anyways.
Yeah.
No, but they come out during
They came
Halloween
out.
time. So but yeah, all this stuff, and then they just continue. It's great for marketing because you can continue the line to Christmas. So you could, use the same stuff for Nightmare Before Christmas at Christmas time.
You know, I think this
So,
movie was really...
they're genius for that.
This movie was really ahead of the curve in terms of consumerism because they wisely knew that nobody would care about Thanksgiving, and so they just skip over it. So it
Yeah.
just all works
I
out.
want to know what would have happened if Jack went into the I know this is a popular theory, but if Jack went into the Thanksgiving thing, do you think he would just like be like, man, we were really shit to the Native Americans and try to
What does it mean?
Like,
I think
guys,
Jack would,
I have an idea.
Look, we already established that Jack is a cultural appropriator. I think he would join in.
Do you
That's
think?
true.
Do you think there
Yeah,
are
guys,
other
we need
doors?
more feather caps.
Other doors not part of the main circle that are for other holidays, right?
Also, what's crazy is the main holidays that they have. They have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween. Cool. Don't they have 4th of July? Does that just count? That's
they?
only an American holiday. And
I
I
know,
guess
no, they
Thanksgiving
have-
is also.
it's-
There wasn't. No. It was
They have
Easter was in the
Easter.
mix for sure.
It was
Oh, yeah.
Easter.
Oh,
John's
oh.
just busting out the
shows
book.
up.
Yeah, they have Easter.
Wait, how
But
many
most
doors
of
were
these
there?
are only American holidays. I'm pretty sure the other one that we don't see is 4th of July, or it's like it's an American, Uncle Sam hat.
It
might
is
be a
very
Mandela
like
effect, who
American.
St.
holidays,
Patrick's
but I don't
Day.
think 4th of July. Yeah, that's.
They have St. Patrick's Day. Oh, that's probably what
See,
it is.
in the book, at least in this book, it only has
They have
Valentine's Day, Christmas, and
Oh, there
Easter.
is Independence Day
You know,
because there's a
where's
firecracker.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened
It's
if
like
he went to
there's gotta
I
be
Kwanzaa?
refuse to acknowledge that because then that means Elle is right.
Well,
But where's the menorah, guys?
I feel like there was one.
according to this Game Rant article,
Why do you have so many copies of this book? Andromeda.
It's not the
We have to
same
look
book.
through the text.
She's just gonna start summoning more random Nightmare Before Christmas books.
there are, according to this Game Rant article, reputable news source Game Rant, there are 7 doors in the movie, including a Halloween door with a jack-o'-lantern, Thanksgiving with a turkey door, Christmas tree door, heart-shaped door for Valentine's, 4-leaf clover door for St. Patrick's, decorative egg for Easter door, and then a firecracker for Independence Day.
They have my dad's birthday. Let's go, guys. It's all just full of Matthew.
No, that's
great.
wrong. It's only 6. I refuse to let Elle be right.
No.
So, like, the firecrackers only for 4th of July. So, what about all the other? Like,
Wait, I just realized we're just
American-
assuming the firecracker's 4th of July. Could it be New Year's? What does
Yeah.
the firecracker door look like?
Oh, it could
Very
be New
possible.
Year's. But I always thought it was red, white, and blue, so that just automatically.
Let me pull up an image of these. So
Hours go by, we're still debating.
it's a red firecracker with stars on it. So you could argue whether or not it's Independence
just
Day, but I would
holiday.
be more likely to assume that that's supposed to be New Year's because everybody celebrates New Year's. That just makes more sense to me.
Yeah, but not everyone. But Thanksgiving's
doesn't
also
pass.
only an American holiday.
That's true.
And it's also the placement in it, right? It's in the middle of the year, whereas like when we're looking at the circles, right?
Oh
like
yeah.
the Christmas is on one end.
Also, my thing is, how did Jack even get to the? He didn't open a door out of
No, it's
Halloween
just somewhere
Town?
out in the middle of the real world, apparently. So I'm assuming that there's like portals that just teleport you to wherever.
It's at the end of the rainbow.
That's my guess.
Because I would imagine he would walk out of the pumpkin door.
No,
and then be
no,
like,
he just
"Oh, what are all
approached
these-"
from the
He
outside
just-
of the circle.
Yeah, he just.
So this is somewhere in the real world, I guess.
He's
where
just
the
really
He
military-
was
tall.
about to leave though, is the thing. He just got sucked in from the winter wind or whatever.
Yeah.
The wind blowing through your hair. Who is that guy? Who is the wind blowing through my hair?
Guy named
That guy.
Blowing.
Well, guys, we're assuming that this is only a man.
Yeah.
I've been
Who
silent
operated
this
on
whole
the
bit.
boy?
That's on you.
Why couldn't the doctor operate on it?
No, I mean, what was I gonna? I was going to make a point. Yeah, like I said, this is a movie where I think the message is really compelling. Like this like I think the song he has where he's like, well, so what if it didn't work? At least I tried and I had fun, and that in and of itself was worthwhile. I think the problem is that like we keep setting up this whole thing about like Sally warning him, and that's not to say it's not compelling for him to realize it for himself. But then it just kind of ends up becoming what was Sally's point in the story? Because then he's just like, after all of this has gone wrong, he's just like, I knew you were right.
She's a sexy lamp.
But then the other thing about it is that, like,
She could have been replaced with a lamp.
it's hard to not, like, when you start introducing, like, the military into your fairy tale story, I feel like I kind of have to start thinking about actual, like, story ramifications. And so it's kind of hard for me to digest the whole thing about, like, the moral is, like, hey, like, sometimes when you try something and it doesn't work out, you don't have to subscribe to Sunken Cost and, like, leave it as it is and say it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure just because you failed at doing this thing. I think that's a really interesting, compelling moral. I think it would have been, like, work, but, like, the thing about it is, like, it wasn't just he failed at it. It was an unmitigated disaster to the point the military got involved. If I try to take up a new hobby,
Where police were called, children were harmed.
if I decide that I'm going to start knitting, and somehow it balloons,
You're gonna stab someone with a needle, man.
it balloons into an international situation where the United Nations is like, you need to come out with your knitting sticks up, right? I can't just be like, well,
Not
at
needles.
least I tried. At least I tried. You know, and that's really
Which
what
is why
matters.
I've always read this as a story that more so is saying, stay in your f***ing lane.
Don't ever try.
Don't try. Stay in your lane. Be
Well, maybe-
sad.
Maybe the lesson is educate yourself more. Because also what was wild to me is when he's explaining to the Halloween townies about Christmas and they weren't getting it, he just sort of was like, nah, might as well just give them what they want. Instead of actually educating them and sitting them down being like, no, this is what I want.
Oh well, we tried.
Because he understands what, yeah.
I think that partially comes down to like a character flaw and also him being a showman first and foremost rather than an educator.
Yeah. Like if Sally were to walk in the door and be like, "Oh, we should do Christmas, guys," she would
also
actually
no one would
educate
pay attention
them.
to Sally,
That's true, because she's a woman.
among other things.
In a very abusive household with that whole storyline's also
I'm
weird.
not sure if Sally technically is considered a person within that world, to be fair.
She is.
Yeah, she gets a job.
So is it just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets a job. She's a citizen.
But she's also just kept under lock and key by Finkelstein.
Yeah, because he's abusive, but everyone is like,
don't know.
"Nah, don't talk to Sally. She's getting abused."
I guess.
Hey, speaking of really weird stuff in this movie, and I'm not saying like quirky weird. I'm saying like that was an interesting creative choice you made there. So, Andromeda's probably
her leg into the bars.
Andromeda's probably the one that has the most authority to talk on this, and you probably know where I'm going. But
What?
there's the montage where they're like handing out the presents to all the kids, and he goes to one very specific household, and these two kids come out, and the stop motion puppets for both of those kids, their eyes are just two rectangles. And I want to ask, what do you think they meant by that, Andromeda? Because I was like, I
They
don't,
were
What?
sleepy.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just like, that's a weird creative
And both of
choice.
their hair is like split like this.
I don't know of anyone that looks like that. So what were they trying to say?
I mean, I think they were just being racist. I don't think they were trying to say anything.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But like, this is also a Tim Burton film, right? And he was, I guess, infamously said that.
Black people don't fit my aesthetic.
Yeah, he said like, not just black people, but any like person of color doesn't fit my aesthetic. And then it's funny because they released. Why am I not thinking of it?
Wednesday?
No, they released Wendell and Wild, and basically every person in that movie is like a person of color in this
And guess
style,
what?
except for the villains.
They fit the aesthetic. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy how that works.
Crazy. But the thing is he says that, and then yet a majority of his movies have black influence with them. Like Oogie Boogie himself has like the jazz
Oh yeah.
sort of feel to
New
it.
very New Orleans. I
New
feel like.
Orleans, yeah. Corpse Bride has a huge New Orleans. Like the whole underworld is based off of how New Orleans like have funerals and things like that. Just big, colorful, loud, big brass instruments. You know, you have Keith David. Is it right? Keith David voices Oogie Boogie?
No, it's not Keith David. But I was like, that guy should play Audrey too, whoever he was. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, who is it that voices?
Oh, it's Ken Page.
oh,
Ken Page. Yeah. So I'm like, and I own the Miss Perengi's Home for
Oh, yeah,
Unusual Kids. That movie, just because my dad bought it and was like, "What's this movie?" And there's Morgan Freeman's in it, and like, guess what? He fits. Like he cast, and also there are 2 black kids in this movie.
Yeah.
That look better than the Asian kids, I might add. They have textured hair. It's crazy. It's like, and granted, it could have been Henry Selick because Henry Selick's fine putting black people in films. YB is black. Your grandma's black, right? Yeah. But so like obvious and Wendell Wild, like they clearly work. Just Tim Burton just really likes pale people, and it's crazy how. But he doesn't. He clearly likes black aesthetic stuff, and he constantly puts it in, and then he just never does anything. Like, I have issues with Tim Burton. I have so many issues of how he writes and how he does things. But it would make sense, like, in Edward Scissorhands, it probably wouldn't work because it's about white suburbia. Cool. But then, once we get to other films, it's like, if you're making your whole underworld based off of New Orleans and you still don't want black people in your movies, insane.
Well,
I think he would because sorry.
No.
Another thing. You'd think he would have fun with it because I feel like there's a lot of black hairstyles where you could fit into like that sort of twirly, kooky hair aesthetic, like especially in Edward Scissorhands where they're all getting the weird hairstyles. I feel like he could have done something cool with that. And I don't know, there missed opportunities because you refuse to put people of color in your films is insane. And that could be said to a lot of different filmmakers and stuff, but yeah, that's my 2 cents. I'll get into it probably more if we want. This is my beef with Tim Burton.
We'll probably get into that. I think that would be fun to get into on the bonus. But what is it? I think at this point we'll go ahead and start transitioning sort of towards closing sentiments. And so let's open it up, I think, as we usually do, starting with Ember, about whether or not you would recommend this movie to folks.
I think it comes down to like overall the vibe, I guess, of the person, and if I think that would be the kind of movie that they would like, because I do think, as we already previously mentioned, that this is kind of a movie overall that either hits or it doesn't. So yeah, I would need to get to know the person first, but if I think it would work for them, then yeah, sure. If not, then maybe just listen to music.
Elle, what about you?
If someone specifically asks, like, what's a good Halloween movie that isn't just a scary movie, or a horror film, I would first recommend
Scary Godmother?
Yes! Or Monster House, definitely. But it would be in the list for sure. But I wouldn't outright be like, this one, you gotta. It would just be in, like, the list of, yeah, sure. But yeah, I would mainly, if they haven't listened to the music already, I would probably just be like, it's certainly a movie that you would put on in a Halloween themed party, just in the background as like an aesthetic thing, and then just have the music play. But as for sitting down watching it, unless you have like children to watch with you, I wouldn't. Definitely good for like a children's movie though. Like if it's just something to throw on, because kids love spooky movies, but there are definitely better children's spooky movies out there. But actually, on my letterbox, I have spooky movies that aren't horror movies just already on there, and that one's not in it, so I guess probably no. It would definitely be one of the last things I would recommend for if you want to get into Halloween vibes, but because I'm like, Twitches is right there, guys. Like,
Andromeda, would you recommend this movie to folks?
I feel,
You feel?
yes, I feel that I would recommend
do.
this movie to people. I feel.
You think? You personally?
Nothing, I guess. Yeah, me personally, it is a good movie. It is still a solid watch, just for vibes, music, acting, just the technicality alone, right? Again, we're talking about stop motion. Every single frame is a picture. There are over 100,000 pictures put together for this movie, and I think that you could appreciate that even if you don't like it. But it's funny because if you do watch it in theaters. They usually do theater re-releases during Halloween. And I say this because we had other panelists, Will and Dayton. Dayton watched it for the first time with me and Will in theaters, and Dayton really liked it.
Well, good for him.
good job.
I'm proud of you,
Especially
buddy.
when the military almost took him down.
Okay. I think...
I watched it pirated on my phone, and I don't remember there being that many MILFs in this movie, but, you know.
Well... I think...
They're in my area, apparently.
You gotta stop pirating stuff, Al.
I think...
I refuse.
I don't know. This movie, it's difficult because it's like, I guess it's hard for me to think about it in a vacuum, which probably isn't fair to it. But when I think about it in terms of like, is there anything that it's sort of the top of the list of? And it's like, I don't think it's the top of my list for Henry Selick stuff. I certainly don't think it's the top of the list for, especially because he didn't direct it, for Tim Burton stuff. I think it's maybe the strongest his visual style has ever been for me. Outside of stuff where he's not really doing his like gothic style, like stuff like Pee-wee. I think it's not really like my first go-to for either of these holidays. You know, like when I think I really want to get into the Halloween mood, I do want to watch something that is actually like pretty like freaky. Or if I want to get into like the Christmas mood, I want to watch something. I mean, I'm probably just gonna watch Muppet Christmas Carol, but you know, so it's like. It's hard because it's like it doesn't top any lists for me, but does that mean that it's exempt from any sort of recommendation? And I would say not necessarily. I think if you like just have an appreciation for the art form and you haven't seen it, if you like stop motion, if you've seen it, if you want something that's like, I think the best way I could describe this movie is that it's cute. And if you're just like, you haven't seen it before and you're like kind of in like something that's vaguely in the season for either of those holidays, probably more Halloween just because of how much time we spent in Halloween Town, I would say.
Oh, so you admit it.
Oh.
No, I think it's still a Christmas movie, but because the director was like, it's a Christmas movie. So I'm just like, well, I guess you would know, but...
Death of the author.
But
after he said it was a Halloween movie.
Yeah, 30 years later, he finally made up his mind. He really had to think about it.
I will say this, despite all the hate that I've given this movie, I will say it opened a lot of doors for stop motion, and I will give it props for that because, like, without it, Henry Selick wouldn't have gotten his like big start. And then Coraline wouldn't have been probably as good. And the technology that they pioneered and, like, you know, really perfected in it, because especially being a Western stop motion film, because a lot of the Rankin Bass stop motion was done in Japan, and then they just dubbed over it, like, did the voices for it. Mm-hmm. So I will applaud it for that. There are a lot of technical feats that were very impressive. Like, the visuals, again... Everything was there. It's just sort of, it's a movie that is there. It's the Citizen Kane of spooky movies. It It even has a similar scene with like grabbing the doorknob. Like that is their snow globe scene. Like, I'm just like, yes, it's important, but do you really need to watch it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you need to watch it, but I think if you haven't and you have even just the slightest amount of interest in any of the bubbles that it encompasses, I would say check it out. I mean, it's a really short watch. It's only 70 minutes, so you're really not gonna like. It's not a lot of investment on your part, and I think it's cute. Yeah. But I think with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap out this initial discussion. Once again, thank you very much to all my panelists. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, and good night.